Turkey is ascending while both individually and certainly collectively, EU Europe is facing, if not a crisis, then at least severe challenges on its ability to manage its own future and the role that it can play in the world. That makes it particularly ironic that the European Union would continue to resist the incorporation of Turkey into its own ranks. Would you comment on that paradox?
Well, first of all, you're quite right in saying that Turkey is remarkably successful. It's one of the three most successful European countries. That is to say, Turkey, Sweden, and Poland. They have something in common. They're not members of the monetary union. The monetary union has imposed a straitjacket on the European members of it in a manner which didn't sufficiently account for the basic differences between economic arrangements, economic styles, even economic cultures of the North and the South particularly. I would think that if one looks carefully at what, for example, has happened in terms of Sweden and Poland, which are much more closely related than Turkey is to the sort of European entity. They both avoided the dilemmas by having their own monetary systems, their own controls of the banks and so forth, yet being firmly committed to the notion of European cooperation and the deepening of it over time. I think that the present inclination in Europe is to face this problem, and my hope is that the end result is going to be, in fact, a union that merits the name union. As you recall, the European community transformed itself into a union. But the paradox is that the European community, involving mostly Western Europe, was much more of a union, whereas the European Union has become much more of a European community with all of its internal dilemmas. I think Turkey's success demonstrates also something else, namely that Turkey is at a still relatively early stage of advanced takeoff in the quest for modernization and industrialization and urbanization. And you tend to have more momentum in that phase than some of the more sedate West European countries, not to mention those southern countries which have their own peculiar Mediterranean traditions of banking, of reactions to publicly imposed tax systems and so forth, or perhaps I should say non-reactions. So Turkey had certain objective advantages. But beyond that, I think Turkey demonstrates the ultimate wisdom of the Ataturk formula, which is national mobilization, reinforced by a sense of national patriotism, and focused on a deliberate emulation of what was the most successful state in terms of socio-political development on the continent of Europe earlier in the previous century, and that was Germany. And Ataturk's model was heavily focused on Germany. And I think it's been remarkably successful in that respect. And I think if things work out with Iran reasonably well, assuming we avoid a catastrophe, I think Turkey is the logical example, the model for Iran in the subsequent phase of change, which is another reason why it's important to think of Turkey increasingly as in the forefront of a more vital, energetic Europe.